London. This is Mariam Sharif, and welcome to the Star Moguls podcast. Been away for a couple of weeks, but back with a beautiful soul. He's a public speaking coach, and we connected on Instagram a while back, but we reconnected because he spoke about a beautiful cause that he's involved in, and I wanted to raise awareness equally. So I'd like to introduce you to Warren Ryan. He has a academy called Fearless Speaking. Welcome, Ryan.
Thank you, Mariam, for inviting me onto this amazing podcast. And yeah, what an intro! I like it.
I would like to start off by the question of what is fearless? What is the definition of being fearless?
I believe the definition of being fearless is being able to be yourself, the person who you are at home in your everyday life. I feel like a lot of people they're dying with so much treasure inside of them. They're leaving this earth not accessing the gift because they have a fear of being judged, a fear of being different. So fearless to me means standing up for what you believe in when others are not standing up and speaking your truth. And if you can do that, I believe that's when you're fearless. So that's my meaning, that's my definition of fearless, is being able to be you in any given situation.
That's wonderful. So let's take it back to how did you become fearless? So where did it start from? And tell us a little bit about yourself. As a public speaker, I always find that good public speakers come from great personal challenges and adversities, right? They're made and formed from pain and challenges. So what was your first challenge, or where did you start this path of I want to be a public speaker?
Yeah, so I grew up in Oxford. It's funny because whenever I go to prisons and do talks and I say to them, I've had a pretty tough upbringing, and they're like, okay. And I say, I grew up in Oxford. They're like, I thought you had a tough upbringing. Was there like drive-by dictionary throws, like people throwing dictionaries at you? And I was like, look, I grew up in a very deprived part of Oxford called Blackbird Lease. My mother had me when she was 17 years old to a very traditional, old-fashioned Irish family who was quite racist. Their beliefs were quite racist. They just believed white people with white people, black people with black people. So
what's your heritage then, Warren?
Well, my mum had a taste for Jamaican men. So I'm half Jamaican and half Irish.
Okay, mixed heritage, yeah.
Yeah, but when that happened, my mum was an outcast, kicked out of the house at 17, Mariam, 17 years old. So she was living bed and breakfast as a mum. My mum had father issues, so she brought back some, very violent men. So as a kid, I grew up around a lot of violence, my mum being abused in front of me being abused as a kid by grown men, having, police breaking into our house. And so a lot of trauma, a lot of
commotion, right?
Yes, neglect, and a lot of just terror in your own home. There was no place of safety in my house. I used to actually put my bunk bed against my bedroom door, and that was the only way that I could kind of get away and put the quilt over my head and just wait for my mum's screams to stop, but then feeling guilty that I can't protect my mum. And this was like when I was 6, 7 years old. And then my mum, she got really caught up with depression, and she tried to escape that through drugs. And she went through smoking cannabis. And in the area that I grew up in, cannabis was, everyone smoked it. So therefore, in my mind, I was like, she can't die from it. So I'm not really bothered about that. But then it got to more, like, I believe cannabis sometimes can be the gateway drug. And it got to the deeper drugs. And I had friends that their parents would have died through heroin and crack cocaine, right? So I was aware of that from the very young age. I never forget, I went to school one day, came home, opened up the cupboard to make a sandwich, and I saw a crack pipe, and I knew what a crack pipe was.
Yeah.
So that, from there, my mum was on drugs. Then she stopped being a mum. There was no electricity in their house. When someone's on drugs, they lose their whole sense of being a mother, and they become slaves to this drug. Yeah. So we were abandoned. We were neglected. No food, no electricity in the house.
You have siblings?
Or... Yeah. So I was the oldest, so a younger brother and 2 younger sisters, and I was the man of the house, having to look after them. And then social services caught us all alone in the house. My mum then kind of put her hands up and was like, I'm neglecting my kids. Then we went into care. And inside of me, I just felt lost, scared. I didn't want my family to be split up despite everything. And then I went to 3 different homes. So the first home, stayed there for a bit, me and my brother. Then went to a second home. That was supposed to be our long-term home. Then went to a third home. And our third home was this amazing lady called Khaira, Auntie Khaira. She was a Muslim. So she brought me into like Islam, showed me, you know, what Islam was about. I fell in love with Islam.
Can I just point out to the audience, I didn't even realize that Warren was Muslim.
Yeah, literally like that, literally just before this podcast, right?
Exactly. We just had this conversation.
Yeah, like, so it's funny because, like, you know, when I was younger, when I became Muslim, I always make a dua to Allah. I say to Allah, I can't tell you how much I love you in this dunya because this dunya is too small. And please don't let me be a number in this world. I know I can't be a prophet because Muhammad is the last prophet, but please don't let me be a number. And I was really inspired by Malcolm X as a kid. So I was like, I want to build schools in Africa, and I want to make it as a professional football player. 1, because I like playing football. 2, because it brings wealth. And then I can build schools in Africa. Like, that was my innocent dream at the time as a kid. And then I used to pray. My mum was homeless. My mum was...
go back to Auntie, the third home that you were at.
Yeah, so. Okay, yeah. So Auntie Hira, she brought us in. An amazing woman. Very strict, not gonna lie, very strict. Yeah. I was feral to a very strict home. And fell in love with Islam, fell in love with Allah. My connection with my creator was amazing. But at the same time, there was that, being a kid and feeling like there's a lot of chores, I felt, you know, a lot of like fasting.
It's discipline. It's, you know, having Islamic lifestyle is about discipline.
100%. And I feel like as a kid, I didn't really see, like, I had such a beautiful relationship with Allah. Yeah. And it was like, it's funny because, like, sometimes, like, when I'm 40, then I'll be a God-fearing Muslim. And then so that was kind of like how my mind was. When I was 13.
A lot of people actually have that mindset, don't they? And I think we all think that when we're young, that, you know, we'll just become pious and religious, we'll do all the right things afterwards. Let's enjoy ourselves. But I think one thing that COVID has probably pointed out to a lot of people is that you might not even live to see 40.
100%.
Right? So
yeah, and you know, once you know that, like, you know, before you start puberty, there's no sins that are being counted. It's like, I was like, as a kid, I'm like, okay, I can use all of this stuff until and then it's so funny. Me and my friends like that. But yeah, so.
But when you know, you must change. When you know, and you have
100%.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, this is where I knew, you know, my connection with Allah was very powerful, and Islam was like, I prayed, and my mum would get off drugs, and she'd get us back together again as a family. And my social workers, my foster mum, everyone believed we were going to be in care for until we were 18. I didn't believe that. I prayed, and I knew Allah was just gonna answer his prayer. And when I was 13, my mum was homeless at this time, man. Homeless. She was sharing needles. There was more. She OD'd. She died twice. And only 5% of people get off heroin. My mum's in that 5% club. And she done it. Went to court, won the court case, got me back together. I was like, thank you, Allah. Sometimes
that's a miracle.
Yeah.
That's quite miraculous.
But sometimes with God, when you pray, when you're in need, and when you're not in need, you know, you kind of sometimes can forget.
You can be complacent. Actually, many people, they pray when they have problems, right? Like, they could go on the prayer mat, like, you know, like, can you help us out? But that's not the case. You should be continuously grateful.
100%. Yeah. And I'll be honest, I was like that. When I moved back to my mum's house, I kind of, as long as I didn't eat pork, I'm Muslim in my heart. This is what I said in my mind. But like my connection with Allah has been very spiritually powerful. Like the connection. It's one thing. Ever since I was a kid, I used to always think about death, which would remind me that I could die any day. And I think growing up without a father in my life, Allah was just the only voice or the connection I would go to.
Yeah.
So I had such a special connection with God. And
when you have no one to rely on, Allah is the one that is always constant.
Always there.
And the one that actually can only solve problems, right?
That's it. So I grew up in care. I got bullied in school. Everyone knew my mum was on drugs. So they used to go, your mum's a crackhead. I got bullied hard because of it. Moved to Bristol. No one knew my story. New family,
you've come back. I mean, we're not united with your mother and your siblings, and then you decide to move to Bristol.
Yeah. So move Bristol.
Fresh start. New chapter.
fresh start.
Yeah.
And then so I kind of kept things, my truth within me, didn't tell anyone. And you can only keep things inside of you for so long, and then they will come out. And it came out when I was 20 through depression. And all of my trauma, everything, my anger towards, I had anger towards God, because I was like, why me? Why me? Why does my dad not want to know me? Why is my mum not maternal? Why didn't I have a silver spoon? Why is it hard for me? Why I was angry, and I was like, why me?
Yeah. The why stage. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And until I came across at my lowest. When I was
instigated that though? What instigated those questions again for you?
It's in like what was in like, why me?
Yeah, like what made you kind of slope down? There's always something that triggers you.
Yes, yeah.
Like, what happened? Where you
So I was playing professional football, and I got released. I got dropped when I was 19. That was my happy ever after. Like, being a footballer meant the world to me. It was my identity. Right? Yeah, it was my identity. It's what all of my significance. So when that left me, I was like, I don't get it. I don't get it. And I felt hopeless, because I was like, that's my only one passion that I had in life. But in that depression, I remember at my lowest, getting down on my head on the floor and just praying to God. I said, Allah, if you help me, I'll spend the rest of my life helping people. And in that moment, Mariam, this is where it just gets, it's just.
That's a turning point for you then.
Yeah, and then a few days after I do that, I get a phone call. And it's this guy with an American accent. He's like, hey, Warren. And I'm like, no one American ever messages me, calls me. I'm thinking, who the hell is this dude? And he's like, you applied for this coaching job in America, but I didn't have the right FA level 2 qualification. But someone's dropped out, Warren, and we need someone ASAP. Do you want to take this opportunity? And I remember looking up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Allah works in miraculous ways.
I know, Maro. And then going to America changed my whole life. I went from seeing a speaker on stage. I never knew about motivational speakers or speaking.
Yeah. So what was the course about? What is it? What was it exactly for?
What was?
You got the invitation. What was the invitation?
Oh, it was coaching soccer.
Okay.
Yeah, so coaching soccer in America for kids. So I was doing it for 3 days at 3 hours a day. I had a lot of time on my hands.
Right.
All the guys had 8-packs over there. So I was like, I need to get fit. So I went onto YouTube, typed in sort of motivational videos I can run to. Came across a speaker by the name of Eric Thomas, and he's on a stage and he's sharing, and he's very American, very like, what up? I was like, okay, a bit conservative here, a bit like, a bit too much.
The British art, yeah.
Yeah. And then he mentioned that his mum was on drugs, and he was telling people what I kept behind closed doors. And he wasn't doing it from a violin. He wasn't like, this is what I went through. He was like, this is what I went through. What was I through? And now I get to travel the world. Now I'm helping thousands, millions of people. Now my children have a life that I never had, and all of this stuff. And I was like, the penny dropped. And I said, sorry, God. So I was asking all this time, why me?
Yeah.
And I should have said, what for? And then in that moment, Mariam, the what for was revealed to me. And I looked at that Eric Thomas, and he was a black man. And I was like, if this brother can do it, so can I. And I was like, I'm going to reach 1 million people in 5 years. Don't know how I'm going to do this. And until I started to study the mind, I started studying neuro-linguistic programming, and I reprogrammed my mind. The person that you see right now is a creation through, I've become an architect of the life that I wanted to live. So I wrote down the characteristics, the beliefs. To be able to be the speaker and to be able to help people, I had to become that. I had to learn that skill set to be able to access the confidence, the communication skills. And that's what I've been on the journey for doing that. And then from that moment, I shared my story strategically in a way where people didn't just go, so what? They said, me too. People that really resonated.
When the first time you shared your story?
Yeah.
When was the first time that you actually?
First one was back in 2012. So just before the Olympics in London. I was scared as hell to share my story because I hid my story for so long. But I knew this was me getting my power back. This was me saying to the world, like, I no longer need your approval. Because
Yeah,
I craved on their approval. When you grow up in care, you feel broken. So you're always trying to impress people.
indeed. Yeah.
So sharing my story was one, I was going to help someone who was suffering alone. And two, was getting my power back, taking away the ammunition.
Yeah, reclaiming, right?
100%.
Who you are.
That's it. And it was scary, but then it was almost like, you know, have you seen the film Bruce Almighty?
I have actually, yeah, but I have,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
in that film, you know, God gives him that power to be able
Yes,
to
yes, yes, yeah.
help
Yeah.
people. And then
Yeah.
he gets those all those messages go, can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help
Yeah.
me? And so it's a bit like that. When I shared my story, I had all of these messages saying, Warren, I'm in Zimbabwe. I just read your story. I was about to end my life and I read your story. Got it. You know, wow, you've inspired me. America, all around. And my Twitter started blowing up. It went, you know, from like 200 to like 20,000 followers on Twitter. And then that's how the journey started. And I was like, it all boiled back to my book. It's called The Art of Being Yourself.
Oh, wonderful.
So that's where it all boiled back down to, is that I was helping people, not changing people. I was helping people, giving them the tools and the strategies to be able to be themselves and to be able to have the know-how to learn new skills. Because a lot of people go to school and
Yeah.
then they leave school and they stop learning. Like, I'm bad at English or I'm bad at maths. And I'm like, when was the last time you did English? When was the last time you did maths? At school. Well, you know, you can still learn now, right?
Yeah, we're forever students. And I think that when you
100%.
stop learning is when it becomes dangerous, right? That's when life stops. I think life is all about evolving
Always learning, right?
and learning. You see role models or people like yourself that is from, from a similar backgrounds or similar experiences. It's then when you kind of identify with the person inside and think, okay, you know what, I can do that. So role models are so important. And especially when I was growing up, there's not many creatives in the industry, in the media industry. And so I think the more people voice themselves and for what their art is, I think that gives other people a chance to come forward as well. And like you said, you saw that person on stage and that gave you the kind of courage. I do believe that public speaking is all about confidence. Now I talk about confidence when I'm styling and self-image. How would you cultivate confidence? How do you cultivate it?
It's surrendering. A lot of it is surrendering. The ego likes to take the show, likes to run the show. And it's about listening to your heart. And as you listen to your heart and you begin on this journey of self-love and you surrender, where you no longer need to control the judgment of how others see you, it allows you to show up, not being the perfect
Yeah.
package. So like, I've always been about, you know, when it comes to confidence, I've always been about being confident even when you're not good at something.
Yes.
At the very start, a lot of people, they do it behind closed doors until they get somewhat good at something and then they show the world. But can you be confident and not being great at something and sit in that place and feel confident?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a lot of it is, you know, surrendering to the um, of the art of being. To go quite deep here, it's all about being. I think when you're
Yeah.
being, there is no worry, there is no, you know, you're not thinking about what others are thinking of you. It's just being, and you can't fail being you.
Mm.
So yeah, that's, you want to cultivate confidence. It's the art of knowing oneself, because a lot of people don't know who they are.
They do, absolutely. They say that public speaking is the most feared thing that a person could do. Like that's the most, if not the most, I think it's the first.
Yes, it's up there with the number
Yeah.
one. People would rather die
Yes.
than speak at a funeral.
Yeah. So public speaking, the biggest fear. So what is your creative process? Walk us through that before going on stage. What is it that you do?
So my mental preparation before I ever get on stage,
Yeah.
I'm aware that our subconscious mind answers any question that we ask it. And the problem is with a lot of people that get on a stage or that are nervous on a stage, they ask negative questions. What if I make a mistake? And they will go through that in their mind,
Mm.
and this is how you're going to feel. So they're
They
feeling what they're
track
going
that,
to
don't
feel.
they? Yeah. Mm.
So how I prime my mind, which allows me to be present, no fear, no nerves on stage, is one, I say this to myself, this is not about me. This is about the message or the person that needs to hear the message. So knowing that, I can be a princess. I can do whatever I need to do on that stage. I can forget what I'm going to say because it's not about me.
Yeah, you're like kind of the vessel, aren't you? Kind of,
100% you are the
right?
vessel.
Because I
Yeah.
always think that uh, the work that I do, when someone says thank you, and I was like, listen, Allah just sent me as a vessel for you. Like, I'm just literally just let you know you're doing the work. It's up to you. You are the one who actually does everything. And I think we just, the encouragement or words of wisdom are
So
just so
true.
powerful. So,
Yeah.
okay, so
So
prep the
yeah.
mind with questions, so positive questions before going
Yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Positive questions. And you know, when you talk to your mind, you have to talk with a certain tonality because your mind knows when you're BSing yourself, right? It knows when you're not being serious. So what I do, my physiology, so my shoulders back, I'm pacing left and right, and I'm getting myself into a state that what I'm about to deliver, I've read the books, I've got the experience. My subconscious mind records everything. It controls my heart rate, my breathing. I trust you.
Yeah.
So I get myself into that state. But again, like it's very important that the foundation, I always tell people that you have to work on a solid foundation. If you're doing it for a round of applause, if you get significance in being a speaker, you're going to feel the nerves and fear. So you have to feel real, know that you're a vessel, know that it's not about you. Once you understand
Absolutely.
that, then you can get on that stage. And when the brain can only focus on one area at a time, you can't focus on someone and focus on yourself at the same time. When you focus on yourself as a good judgment, whenever you're nervous or got clammy hands, the focus is not on the audience, it's on you. So to remove that, you focus on the audience. Someone's there. They don't need you to be elegant. They don't need you to say it in a very, sophisticated way.
Yeah.
They want you to care, and they want to help. How do I get out of this suffering? How do I stop this pain? How do I add value in my business? Whatever it may be, they want that information. So once you focus on them, you can feed them and give them what they want, and there's no fear on this side.
Yeah. Yeah,
Does that make
absolutely.
sense?
It's all about the message and about delivering and service, isn't it? It's all about being an act of service for others. So if you didn't speak, I wouldn't have heard about the great cause that you're involved with. So let's speak about that and really create awareness, because when I heard about it, I was like, okay, let's do what
Yes.
we should all do our bit, right? Whatever we have and whatever we can do. So through our podcast, let's give awareness of the amazing cause that you're involved with. So it's about a little girl called Florentina. Would you like to
Yes.
tell us?
Yes. So Florentina, she came into my life about 3.5 weeks ago. She's 4.5, and she has neuroblastoma. And currently, she has a 50% chance of living. But if they get this vaccine, which will send her to America because they don't do it in the UK, it's in America, and it costs the whole, course of the vaccine costs £250,000.
Yeah.
So I first heard about it on a Instagram live.
Right.
They're telling me about Florentina's story, and I was just like, it's funny because at that moment I was like, I want to create an event for the people that just bring in humanity together.
Yes.
And then her story came up, Florentina's story came up. So I checked out her page, and I said to my brother Atik, who I'd only just met as well, let's raise that money. Let's do an event. Because donating alone, it's good, but it's not maybe going to help the next child, or it's not going to. So how do we get people to say Florentina's my daughter?
Yeah, that ripple effect, isn't it, Warren?
Yeah, yeah. So
It's that energy of so many people coming together for this one. Like, you were on the live. I was like, okay, how do we get involved? What do we do? Because I think it touches everybody.
it
Even though
does.
I'm not a mother, but I have nieces and nephews, and I have family, and I think anybody with a heart would feel her pain.
That's it.
She's so cute. She's adorable.
She is beautiful. And like, yeah, and so from that moment, loads of people have been fundraising for her and everyone's been coming together. So I literally put our arms open. I said, look, whether you can help a lot or a little bit, be a
Yeah.
part of our family. Let's put this event together. And this event, we
So the
will,
event is on
the
sorry,
12th of December.
12th of December.
Yes. So on 12th December in London. And
So
yeah.
what is the event and how can people contribute?
Okay, so if you want to contribute in any shape or form, like contact you, Mariam, or contact me and just reach out to me. We've got a WhatsApp group. We've got around 50 members in that WhatsApp group so far. And it's just beautiful energy, people from around the world that are coming together. And the event itself, I've done over 500 events myself. So we deliver at these events, we help people again, I'm all about the art of being yourself, having more confidence, having a sense of purpose in your life. So we got, I'm speaking on that sort of topic, but then we got other celebrity speakers that have got inspiring stories as well. So people that are going to come to the event are going to feel inspired.
Yes.
To not just help Fiorentina, but to help more children like Fiorentina as well. Like the whole purpose of this event is that we put on an amazing show where we raise, all that money for Fiorentina. And maybe what gets birthed out of it is a foundation that helps thousands of other children that are suffering as well. But waking people up. Like we live in a world where children are dying of starvation now. Homelessness, all of this, people are distracted. Netflix, work, I don't have time. We want to give people the tools to be able to become self-aware, to pull their sleeves up. Just like I did when I first saw Eric Thomas. I signed up for a life mission to help others. And I believe it's the best thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
And I keep on giving that gift. My thing is I want to create leaders. I want to create leaders that can impact more people. So if we have 1,000 people, when we have 1,000 people at the event, if everyone's on the same page, the money's going to be
such great energy, and just being together in one place where we have so much love for a cause, and just being selflessness, that act of helping someone better their lives and hopefully give this girl a little chance to live.
Yes.
I think that's beautiful.
Yes, it's true. Giving is the best feeling in the world. It comes, you could have there are people that have mansions, big house, so big houses, cars, all of it, but they're lonely, or they're still lacking that purpose. I think Jim Carrey said, some people have to get all of that to realize that's not the ultimate goal in life.
Absolutely. It's not about luxury. It's about brands. It's really about the heart and what you can do and help others. So it's a great cause. I hope that I'll leave the details obviously below, and then anybody that wants to contact or attend the event. So where is the event being held?
So the event, let me quickly just pop it up. Do you know what? Because I've got 1,000, we got literally, I'm running the whole team of 50 plus people. The venue name is, let me quickly get it up.
So I can edit a few things, don't worry.
No, I'm real, I'm transparent, Mariam. We'll keep this stuff in there. It's called the Ark Royal. Ark Royal.
Where is it then?
Beautiful venue, North London, Egmonton.
Okay, North London. All right, okay. And is there a ticket price? How do we contribute?
Mariam, wait, I want to see your face when I say this. The tickets are $9.99.
$9.99. Okay. Oh, that's nothing. Yeah.
That's nothing, right? Nothing. Obviously, we got VIP tickets as well. So if you want to, eat with the celebrities and the speakers after, we've got an after party too. Everything gets, tickets, all that stuff gets donated to the fund of Fiorentina's, treatment. Okay. And everyone together, we're gonna guys, if you.
And how much is the capacity? How many people can we get at the event?
So we got 50,000 seats.
Okay.
No, I'm joking. I wish.
Okay.
Wait.
Are you sure it's not Wembley?
Mariam, I love how you just okay. I was like, yes.
No, because I'm just thinking, £10, anybody and everyone can do that. We get 50,000. So in my head, I'm not thinking it's impossible. That's why I'm like, yes, I'm going ahead with it. This is why I didn't show you any reaction, because I'm like, yes, we can do that. Do you understand?
You know what? You know what? You've given me more belief. You've given me more belief now. If I think that we're going to fill up 50,000 seats and doing, yeah. So
Yeah.
we got 800 seats, but then we got virtual tickets as well. So people that live in
Okay. Oh,
Antarctica,
brilliant. That's nice. So people that can't make it for whatever reason,
yeah, only if guys, if you live in Antarctica, that's the
yeah.
only reason you could buy a virtual ticket. Marin, we got people flying in from America.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. You see, that's a spirit. That's the togetherness. That's really humanity, isn't it? That's
It
humanity.
is. It is. I think. Do you know what? I think there's going to be some sort of like documentary or film created from just the collective, because this is not.
I think the whole journey until the event and thereafter, it should be all documented. It should be
Yeah, it has to be, because
right.
it is
Is
like.
anybody doing that, by the way? Is
I
anybody?
think, yeah, I think there's a few people that are kind of doing this, but I keep telling people, like, if you want a round of applause, like, go and join a call center. But in doing this mission, we don't want a round of applause. This is no name. This is a collective,
Yes, yeah.
and we're just loving hearts. That if you see Florentina, just see her like your daughter.
Yeah.
And whether that's, even sharing on your Instagram, or just like, the more mouths we have, the better it's going to be for spreading the awareness and getting her to America.
Yeah. And when is does she have like, is
Time
there a
time to raise.
time? Yeah, is a time frame
Yeah.
within this to raise this money? Because obviously she's got to have this treatment.
I believe it's around March, April time. I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that though, but I think around, yeah.
Fingers
March.
crossed inside.
Yeah. But I'm confident that we're going to raise the money at this event. I
Yeah.
really am confident.
So the speakers, and there's so inspiration is, of course, there has to be some kind of music.
Yeah, we've got a musician, very yeah, so obviously, yeah, music wise, it's all, obviously we've got kids there as well, so we're very kind of selective with.
Yeah. What is the itinerary besides the speakers, and what else?
Yeah, so we got a very diverse lineup through, obviously, speakers. We've got a 12-year-old speaker called Zach, who is an amazing human being.
Oh, beautiful.
He's really cool.
So it's a very family orientated event.
Yeah, like, for me, I don't discriminate in any way, shape, or form. So I believe old souls live in young bodies too. So yeah, we've got a young dance group we're going to be performing as well. We have a fashion show, so Mariam, you might want to see that as well.
Yeah, absolutely, I can help you with that, not a problem.
Love that. Yeah, so we got a model, KJ. She's kind of helping with the fashion show. We've got what else do we have? Yeah, so musicians, dancers, and speakers, but it's all going to be a show. Like, it's going to be
sounds good.
Unforgettable. It's going to be amazing. We're going to get Sky News there, BBC News there. The press are coming.
Absolutely, that's great. What time does it start, and what time should we do?
So it starts at 10 a.m.
Okay.
And it finishes at 4 p.m.
Okay.
But you're going to come there and you'll be like, oh my god, it's finished already, like, because you're going to have so much fun. Like, time flies.
I'm going to make sure I bring everybody. Make sure everybody will want to come anyway.
That's it. Yeah, it's gonna be amazing.
Definitely. Regarding to people who want to donate, or if they can't, like I said, attend, can you provide us with is there a website or?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the website's on my bio. So if you click my link on my Instagram, but also, Mariam, I'll send you the link as well. So
yeah, and then I can just add it on the podcast, and then we can make sure that we can get the word out and tell as many people, because some might want to just donate and just just want to what if somebody wants to volunteer? Do you need any volunteers for the event? Do you need any helpers that would want to contribute on the day?
100%. We need help.
Yeah, that'd be nice, isn't it? Because some people might not be able to give, but I think when you act as a volunteer, that's your part, right? You've done your little part, and
that's more valuable than getting a ticket.
Yeah, because you need more hands on the event. You need some more
100%,
helping. So if anybody wants to donate or volunteer, then they can do so as well.
Perfect. Yeah.
Excellent.
Definitely.
Sounds really good. In addition to that, do you have like a raffle or prizes of the day?
Yeah. So my role in this, Mariam, is the
You need to give everybody a book.
Yeah. So my role is like, bringing the people in. So we've got an event organizer. They have the ins and outs of it. I kind of like, I'm a speaker, so I do my thing on stage, but like I'm having with the market inside of it. But yeah, all that information is like our events team. They know all the ins and outs.
Brilliant. Okay, we'll put all the details on there and make sure. You see, this is the beauty of speaking, because you have to speak for people to connect, right? Like if you didn't speak about this event, nobody would have known about it. And I think the more people create awareness through videos, through audio, whatever is your form of convenience or what you're comfortable with, but the more you share, the more you can help others.
That's it. This is how, we've done this podcast. Like what made you want to say, Warren, come on the podcast and help promote Fiorentina? What was it? Like I connected you?
Just her little face and just seeing her in pain, and I was like, oh, what can I do? I always think, what can I do to contribute? Because my father's brought me up with this. Like he said, he left and said to me, you're here to help. That's it. And I was like, help what? And that was it. That's all he said to me. And so I think when I see someone, if I can help, he said, help yourself first, number one, then help 2 and 3 along the way. So I always think that if I can help in some shape or form, I will.
Love that. And helping, giving is living.
Absolutely. Let's hope that we can get people to the event, inshallah, and raise money.
I get allergic to hope. We don't hope. We do this, girl. We're doing this.
Yeah, we got the 50,000, all right? We got 50,000.
50,000 people. You know what? I'm like,
can you imagine a 50,000 concert?
Like, I think from the first event, it will grow into future events that will bring in 50,000 people from around the world. Humanity. We're just bringing people together.
Someone has to start it, Warren, right? Like someone has to start the process, the ripple effect. And it's the instigator, it's the first one that is the hardest. The rest, inshallah, will be fine.
Inshallah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Even this will be, but what I'm saying is that this takes the forming, right? That this is where all the pieces come together.
Makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Warren, for joining us. Love the work that you do. I need that book. Let me see if you can show that's it.
Yeah.
So your book. What made you write it, by the way?
Well, I didn't want to die with all of this know-how in my head. Like I literally can be me in any given situation. Yeah. I know how to manage my emotions. I know how to remove bad habits and replace them with good habits. I know exactly how to reprogram the mind. So I was like, I need to put this in a book, because there are people that are suffering, Mariam, who are banging their head against the same wall and they don't know there's a door over there. So this book helps people, and it makes it into layman's terms. It's conversational, and I've cut out the fluff.
Yeah.
You don't want to know about my auntie going to Tesco's. I don't need to put it in the book. What I put in the book is strategies on how to master your mind so that you can change the beliefs that are holding you back with your mental health, in your career, relationships, in your life. And it helps people. This book as well gives you the strategies on how to build a connection with oneself, a relationship with you.
At the end of it,
and at the end of it, you get the gift of being able to be yourself and creating the person that you want to be.
Excellent. So that's really good. Can we get it on audio, or is it just?
Yes. So I marry my voice as well. I've narrated the audio as well. So when you buy the audio, you hear my voice.
Oh, wonderful! That sounds great. That's great.
But yeah, Amazon. Type in Warren Inspire on Amazon. My book pops up. All the art of being yourself, the audio, and the book will pop up as well. You get it on Kindle.
Okay, we can talk for hours, Warren. I'll let you go. Lovely to speak with you. I look forward to connecting you with others and connecting with you at the event. And I'm sure we'll speak before anyway. I will put all the details for our audience. Thank you so much. And let's raise awareness for Fiorentina.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Thank you.